Hi, in this video we will discuss more about the architecture of neural networks. So on the screen we have a sample neural network. Okay, so this is a sample neural network and we will break it down in simpler terms in this video. Now, in the last video we had seen that a neural network had three layers. Okay, input layer, hidden layer and output layer. So similarly here we have input layer, we have hidden layer and then we have output layer. I told in the previous video that number of hidden layers is user defined, number of connections between the hidden layers, actually, is user defined, and number of output is actually application defined. Okay, so let's talk more about the architecture right now. So X is basically the input. From here we provide the input, and input is actually the input of features. Okay, so if we are passing a image through a neural network of the pixels 10 is 10 by 10, then we will have 100 features to pass through this input layer. Okay, then we have the hidden layer. The number of hidden layers and number of nodes in the hidden layer is completely user defined. Now they can be anything. Now the thing about hidden layer is the place where all the processing happens, where all the processing of the signal or the data happens. So hidden the neurons, the node in hidden layer is nothing but a function. Okay, so if, as in mathematics there are functions, we provide some input in the format of x and we generate some output in the format of y. Similarly is the case with hidden layers. Okay, so all the neurons represent some type of a function, and another thing that all the hidden layers have is they have different biases. All the hidden layer have their own biases. Actually all the neurons except every node is called as neuron, by the way. So every neuron except the input neurons have some sort of bias. Okay, so the B that I have written everywhere is actually bias. So every neuron has some bias. Okay, it's written already here. Okay, and every connection has some weight. So all the connections that we are having, this is the connection, this is the connection, right? This is the connection. All these connection have some weight associated with it. We will discuss more about weights and bias later point of this course. You will understand it's not something rocket science. So this was the structure. So what happens is some data is passed through the input layers, number of features, then each input layer, each neuron of input layer is connected with every neuron of the hidden layer. Okay, so it is one more thing is that it is a completely connected structure. So this node will be connected to each node of the hidden layer, each neuron of the hidden layer. Similarly, this will also be connected to each neuron of the hidden layer. Okay, so this is a completely connected structure. And what happens is when we pass some input through the input layer, it goes into the hidden layer, and on the hidden layer there is some functions and some processing happens, some biases are added, some weights are associated, and then that input is passed via this connection to this output neuron, and this output neuron adds its own bias, its own weight, and then provides output to the application or to another neuron or the user, whatever, wherever the output is required, it provides. So for example, let's see a example house prediction model. So the number of input features can be floor level, how many floors. Basically we have to predict if a house will be sold or not. Okay, so there are certain features that we can have. We can have how many floors we are having, how many bedrooms we are having, what is the square foot area of the house. Okay, so these are the input layers. Then we have some weight associated. The sample weight is 0.01, 0.5 and 0.1. Now more the weight of a connection is, the more important that connection has the role to play in the determination of, in basically prediction. Okay, so if I am saying that if I am saying the number of bedroom is having maximum weight among all the inputs, then I am trying to say that number of bedrooms is one of the most important criteria for the customers to decide if they want to buy a house or not, and which is actually true. A lot of houses are sold just on the basis of how many BHK they have. This is by the way, for just example, I have taken this neuron only. There will be different weights for all the different connection. Every connection have different weight. Okay, no two connection, I mean they can have same weight, but it is not necessary that they will have the same weight. Okay, so the data comes to the hidden layer for some processing from the input layer, and then after the processing is done, some function is applied, then the data goes out, the output basically, the processed data goes out to all the output neurons that we have. Okay, so if there are two output neurons, then the data will go to both output neurons, and the weight associated with this the connections will decide how important is our output is. Okay, and then we have a bias for output as well. Okay, okay, now what is here is I have written something about bias. Bias is the indication of base threshold of the neuron. Okay, bias actually specifies the point from where our computing should start. So for example, just for example, let's say you are plotting a graph. Okay, so x is equals to y, if I plot, then the graph will look something like this. Okay, but if I want to plot something like this, x is equals to y plus b, okay, then the graph will look something like this, where this part is b. So basically bias is the indication of the base threshold. Okay, so from the point from where the graph should start. Okay, so basically it adds a certain amount of value already to the output. Okay, so that is the role of bias. Okay, the next thing that we have to understand is what I told here about what I told here. Okay, so let's see neuron as a mathematical function. The output of an artificial neuron can be written as a mathematical function in such a way that y is the output. Oh, okay, so let's first understand the number of connections associated with a neuron. The first thing a neuron has is a number of inputs. So we have three inputs here, and we have three inputs, and we have three weights. Okay, then we have one bias, and then we have one outgoing output. So we can write our neurons as a mathematical function in such a way that we have y is equals to f, and in the bracket we have the entire thing. Okay, we have all the weights associated with the input v1 x1, v2 w1 x1, w2 x2, w3 x3, and b. Okay, we have all the weights and values associated with, and this entire thing goes into the activation function. Okay, so let's see it for example sake. So for example, I have a neuron with two inputs. Okay, just one input, let's say w1 x1 plus b. Okay, so I will say let's, for the sake of computation, let's say it is z. Okay, so I have y is equals to f of z, and let's say this f is some activation function. Okay, so if you remember in supervised learning we learned about the logistic regression, and I said that this function is going to be very useful to us. Okay, the takeaway from that video was just this function, nothing else was that important. So, and I had already actually written this here only. So let's consider that our activation function is actually the sigmoid function. So our activation function is actually 1 plus e की power minus z. Okay, so it will be, so our output will become something like this. If I take f as this, then our output will become something like 1 plus e की power minus of w1 x1 plus b. Okay, so this was the role of the sigmoid function and everything. I've gone in a little bit deep, I know, and if you don't understand right now, it's okay. We will discuss more about this. But yeah, this is how we represent a neuron as a mathematical function, or we can also simplify this above extended version into the compressed version by using a summation. All right, so in the next video we will discuss what is this activation function, and this is it for this video.